Number 12. Eitan Odnail says, can the gospel be preached to the dead? According to 1 Peter 4:6, is there any hope to people after they die? Also, 1 Peter 3:19 through 20, what does preached unto the spirits in prison mean? All right, 1 Peter 4:6. I actually want to do more of a study on this someday. I'd like to, because I have had conversations with people where I thought, this would be worth talking about more. But let's read these verses. For this is why the gospel is preached even to those who are dead, that though judged in the flesh the way people are, they might live in the spirit the way God does. So 1 Peter 4:6, this is in the same book as 1 Peter 3:19 and 20. So that provides some context. I'll just notice this, that the tenses are interesting here. The gospel was preached, past tense, even to those who are dead. So it doesn't say the gospel was preached to those who were dead, which means they were dead when they had it preached to them, but rather the gospel was preached to people who are now dead. So this verse doesn't seem to comment on whether or not those people were, it doesn't seem to say that those people were dead when it was preached to them. Okay, that seems to be the context of the verse. Now, the other passage, 1 Peter 3:19, I'll back up just a little bit. We'll go to verse 18. For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit. So it's talking about his death and his time on the cross. He suffered, he died, he was put to death in the flesh, but he was made alive in the spirit, in which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison. This is something Jesus did in the spirit. So this seems to be something Jesus does post death on the cross, before the resurrection. This seems to be. That's how I would take it. Because they formerly did not obey when God's patience waited in the days of Noah while the ark was being prepared, in which few, that is 8 persons, were brought safely through water. Now, I have a whole video on this in my 1 Peter series where I go through this passage more slowly, and you can check that out. You could go to my YouTube channel. It's hard to find series on YouTube sometimes, so you could also go to BibleThinker.org, go scroll down and find series. You'll see 1 Peter, and you can find exactly where I deal with this in great detail. Here's a real short answer. I think what Jesus did is, after his death, he went and he preached to those who had been like waiting, right? Like they died without the knowledge of who Christ was. Now they're going to see that Jesus is proclaiming to those who've died, right? To their spirits, that he has had victory over death, that he has paid the price, that he is the way, the truth, and the life. Like they're learning the thing that creation's learning as Jesus dies and rises. They're learning this as well. It seems to be focused on the ones who did not obey. So this would be either the people who died in the flood, right? Or some would say it's related to like the Nephilim and things like that. I get into more detail on that. I think what's happening here, though, is this is a one-time event, and this is where it answers your question. It seems to be a one-time event that happened already, past tense. It's already taken place. Jesus, when he dies, he proclaims who he is. It's the unveiling of the nature of the cross, unveiling of who the Messiah was, how salvation works, and he's proclaiming it to those who died, it seems, in the flood long time ago. But they seem to be people who are condemned. So they're being informed, but they're not being saved. There's the short answer. They're being informed, but not saved. So this does not seem to present a case for post-death salvation, where you reject Christ, you die, and later you receive him. It seems rather to be a case where God is simply, because every knee will bow to Jesus, every tongue will confess. So it's part of that proclamation. It doesn't have to do with salvation. Preached unto the spirits. That's what I think it means. It's about proclaiming the glory and the power and the salvation that there is in Christ, even to those who have ultimately, rejected the truth of God.